Pastor Roy Gerhardt from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Well, you can see behind me our children's playground behind the church, and the ferocious winds that we had over the weekend really made a wreck of it. You can see that we've got children's equipment blown all across the lawn. The posts that are standing there were part of a privacy fence that is now partially wrecked. And I thought this really gives us a picture of the way that many of us feel about life right now. That many of us are feeling like we're caught in a wind that is just whirling us around out of control. Dealing with the rise in COVID cases, all of the fallout from that, the travel restrictions, the advisories to change all of our holiday plans, and all of that has us feeling like our life is being blown around out of our control. And even in our church, we had to close our services last Sunday, and we will not have in-person worship again this week on November 22nd because myself and several members of our staff were exposed to a person who turned out to have COVID. And we found that because of all of the networking and interaction, that the only way for us to act with due diligence was to close the doors and break the chain so that we would not further any spread in our congregation. Fortunately, none of us have come down sick, and we're thankful to God that several of us have had COVID tests and those have been negative. So to this point, we're just thanking God that quarantining has been a safeguard and not something that has been a result of all of us becoming sick. But all of that leaves us with all kinds of questions and struggles to figure out what to do. How do you do the next thing as a church? How do you function as a family and as an individual in the midst of all of this real sense of chaos? There are some days whenever I have to say I feel like my mind is caught in a whirlwind, like my thoughts are just swirling about and I don't know which end's up. In fact, there are days that whenever I put a smile on my face and try to embrace a positive attitude, then I feel like I'm planting a mask on my face. And I really have some days challenged myself to say, are you just faking this? Are you just putting this on like a painted face? And I've stopped myself there, and I have to say no, but I am embracing choices. Because, the biggest thing that is required in getting a grip on all of this chaos and finding some sort of peace in the midst of it is getting under control the whirlwind in your own mind and your own heart. And that requires that we make some choices and take some action in our lives to bring that in check, to bring it under control, in fact. I'm reminded that in the scripture, we're told to make those kind of choices by, first of all, casting all of our anxiety on the Lord because He cares for us. And I was rereading Genesis 24, and I was thinking more about the servant who was tasked with finding a wife for Isaac. And I thought, man, what a job to be given. This man had to feel completely overwhelmed by it. Like, man, if I mess this up, it's going to be huge. It's going to impact the man I work for and that I love. It's going to impact his son Isaac and his future. This had to be a thing where he felt way in over his head. And what did he do? Well, he reached out to God. He turned the whole decision over to God. He prayed and asked the Lord to guide him in a way that he would have a sign that would make it completely, unequivocally clear that this was God's pick. And when God came through on that, I realized that's not where the story ends. I really paid attention to the way that this man responded. Immediately, when Rebekah came and everything fell into place, he fell on his face and gave thanks to God. When he went and met Rebekah's family, the one thing he wanted to do was tell them what God had done. When he took Rebekah home and presented her to Isaac, again, he just wanted to tell him, this is what God has done. Everything that he had to say, and everything that he did was a response of thanks and celebration for what God had done. This is the source of peace and of calm, even in the midst of the storm. So I want to remind you that Thanksgiving is about this: to put everything in God's hands and to give thanks, to never neglect to celebrate the good things that God has done, because there is where we find our hope, our strength, our calm, even in the midst of the storm. May God bless you today. And as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.